So, how do you choose the best US embassy to process your visa interview? Because guess what? Embassies are not all the same. And if you get a bad embassy, if you get a bad consular officer, guess what? Your visa is over. So, in this video, we'll talk about how to choose the best embassies for your visa interview. Hello everybody and welcome back to Immigration Channel. In this video, I'm going to tackle one of the most common questions I get from my clients and from people that are watching this channel. Jacob, how do I choose a very good embassy to make sure that my visa process is going to be good and I'm going to get my visa at the end of the interview? Well, in this video, I'm going to focus on business visas. If you're applying for e-visas, L visas, H-1B visas, and the reason why is because with business visas, it really does matter where you apply because consular officers are not all the same and they don't all have the same experience processing certain visas. I'm going to make a separate video specifically for family-based immigration because guys, before we talk about the business visas, that for family-based petitions, it also matters which embassy you go to. As you know, many of you are waiting for your interviews for a long time, and sometimes switching to a different embassy, switching to a different post makes things go a little bit faster. So I'll make a whole separate video just for family petitions. But in this video, we focus on business cases because that's some of the most common questions I received this week, and I want to address this. So let's understand a very common myth that if you go to an embassy that is a very busy embassy, that it processes a lot of e-visas, a lot of L visa cases, the chances are that those embassies have very experienced officers. And those embassies will guarantee that you'll get a very fair adjudication of your case because they understand what a proper e-visa should be, what a proper L visa should be, and what a good H-1B case should be. So let's start with this point. If you're going to a busy post, a business-friendly post, I call it, is a post that has a large exposure to visas from the same kind. A lot of e-visas, a lot of L visas, a lot of H visas. If you're applying for that particular category, your goal is hopefully to get to a post that has a large exposure to many of the same kind of visas. Keep that in mind before you go for that interview. Now, let's talk about size. Does size matter in terms of visa processing and particular embassies? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The overall size of the consulate or the embassy will determine if it's a visa friendly or not, which means that if it's a larger post like the UK or Tokyo, that means it will have a lot more exposure to more visa categories like E visas, L visas, and H visas. But if it's a very small embassy where they see maybe 1 or 2 or 3 E visas per year, guess what? If you end up in that embassy and you're applying for an E2 visa, it's going to make it very complicated for the consular officer to adjudicate your case because they don't have the experience and you're just visa number 4 for them. So the chances of you getting an approval are not going to be that high with a post that has no idea how to process E2 visas. Because think about it, if you're going to a large post and there's an issue with your case, the consular officer can easily go to their supervisor who's done 100 of these cases and ask for their opinion and assistance in processing your case as well. So if you're going to go to a big embassy, a big large post, the chances of getting your case approved faster and better are going to increase your chance to get that visa approval. So think about it as well before attending that visa interview. But let's ask the other question. Is there such a thing as a bad embassy for business cases? Well, I think there is. And before I tell you what I mean by that, I want to ask you a favor. If you're watching my videos every single week and you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe to my channel right now. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. And also give us a big like so YouTube will be able to show these videos to more people just like you. If you need help with any of your business immigration matters, send me a text to 619-483-4549 or go to www.immigrationasap.com. Leave your details and one of our team members will contact you ASAP. And now, let's go back into the video. So, is there a bad embassy? Well, there is, in fact. If you're looking at one of the largest volume embassies, like Manila, like Lagos, like Mumbai, like the US Embassy in Rio. Those embassies are very, very large. They process a lot of family-based cases and, of course, some business cases. But with large embassies like that, staff is overworked, they're stressed, they don't have time to look at your cases. And so if you send a business case to a busy post like that, the chances of you getting approved are definitely going to decrease. So think about it carefully before you go to a post like that, because in business cases, you do have the option to choose an alternative post to the one that you're coming from. So, for example, if you're a citizen of Brazil and you're applying for an L visa and your embassy is overworked and you have an option to apply at a different post, you need to consider that if you can. Because, again, some of these big posts are going to make your processing a little bit tougher. And remember, if you go to an embassy that is big, but they have good case management, like for example, Toronto, like for example, London, these are very, very high volume embassies, but they have very good case management. They are processing cases very effectively, and you're always going to get a fair adjudication at these posts, for example. So remember, even if you go to a bigger post, as long as they have good case management, your chances of getting a visa are going to be pretty good. So let's ask this question. Which embassies have the best e-visa expertise? And I'm going to do the same for L and H visas down the line of this video. So make sure you watch this video all the way until the end. I can tell you one thing. Not all embassies process e-visas regularly. And very few of these embassies process most of e-visa cases around the world. And here are some of the best embassies to process E2 visas around the world and the number of cases that they process each year. Starting with Japan, with over 17,000 visas processed per year at this one post. Most of them, like I said, are E-visas, E2 visas. So, and they're not just Japanese cases. Very good officers, very good adjudication, very high approval rates in Japan. Number two in terms of e-visa processing is Germany, with 4,171 cases per year. Very good embassy in Germany. Frankfurt is one of the top processed e-visa cases. We love this embassy, and we send many of our clients over there. Number three is Canada. Canada with 7,450 cases processed per year. Canada in Toronto is a great embassy. We love the officers there. Excellent customer service, excellent case management in Toronto, and very, very high approval cases. They will take clients from other countries as well. So make sure that you check with them before you apply for your E2 visa. Next on our list is France with 3,088 cases per year. Very good embassy, very professional staff, and very good approval rates in France. They process cases from all over Europe, and many of our clients prefer to go to Paris to get their e-visa adjudicated. Again, very high level of expertise. You have a lot of professional officers there that understand business, and we had some of the best approvals coming out of Paris. Next on our list is UK, United Kingdom, with 3,082 cases processed per year. Also very high volume embassy, but very good adjudication at this post. Next on our list in Asia is South Korea with 6,800 E2 visas. Very good embassy, very professional staff, and they use technology to process cases, and they're asking very good questions from our applicants. So for high approvals, South Korea is excellent. And finally on our list is Taiwan with 3,300 E2 visa cases processed. Very good embassy and very good adjudications at this particular post. Now remember, in any of these consulates, staff always rotating. So even if you get used to some posts, maybe you know some of the officers by working with them for a while, they constantly rotate, and it's very important to understand what each embassy requires in terms of sizes of pages, what they want to see on the cover page, or anything else that they don't want. Make sure you understand and read the instructions of each embassy before you file the cases there. Now, let's talk about which embassy has the best L visa expertise. And it's not surprising that India processes the most L visas in the world than any other embassy in the world. And that is because a lot of Indian companies have consulting companies that are moving employees to the US, and they process the most L visas in the world. And last year, over 57,000 L visas came out of India alone. Compared to e-visas, they only had 75 e-visas processed in India for those Indian nationals that have double nationalities, of course. Because to get an E2 visa, you have to be a national of their country. Remember, the embassies are now focusing on the new policy called America First. They have more vetting and more scrutiny when they're processing those cases. So make sure when you apply for L visas, your application is top notch to avoid any denials. In addition to India, we have other posts that process a lot of L visas. Brazil with 9,945 L visas just last year. China with 7,098 L visas just from last year. Also very good posts in China with a lot of expertise in L visas because of the international trade and because of the multi-level companies that are doing trade between the US and China. Then we have the UK with over 8,000 L visas being processed at the embassy in London, and Mexico with 8,100 L visas processed last year. Mexico has a lot of trade with the United States, so it's not surprising that a lot of L visas are being processed at US embassies in Mexico City and Ciudad Juarez as well. Other posts like Frankfurt or even the embassy in Buenos Aires, they do process L visas, but smaller scale. And if you're looking to get some faster processing, you should definitely consider this alternative post that have the experience in processing L visas as well. Which embassies are now very friendly for H-1B visa applicants? Now, with H-1B, it's a little bit more complicated to give that definition. There's not one specific post that have H-1B visa expertise. But once again, we can say that U.S. embassies in China, U.S. embassies in India, and U.S. embassies in Brazil have a lot of expertise in H-1B because they have a lot of applicants that go through these posts that apply for the H-1B visas, as well as Canada that also takes third country nationals and process visa extensions. So I would say these are the best to process H-1B visa applications in 2025. So guys, there are many business-friendly posts out there. You have to understand that when you go to a visa interview, your expectation that the officer on the other side is going to understand your case and going to be willing to give you the visa. We had some issues with U.S. embassies in Pakistan where the officer were not always familiar with visas like E1, E2, and L1. So again, it is important to go to a post that has professional staff, knowledgeable staff, and that you'll be able to get your visa faster. So hopefully you understand the psychology, methodology, and how embassies are working when they process business cases to help you expedite processing your visa application. Next video, I'll make one on family petitions, so give you an easier way to navigate where to apply for your visa next. Once again, guys, if you need help with your immigration matters, send me a text 619-483-4549 or go to www.immigrationasap.com. Leave your details and one of our team members will contact you ASAP. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.